My presentation is, my name is Ainulkhir Hussin. Currently, I'm working in Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia. And at the same time, I'm also a student of University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Okay. The title of my presentation today is the Epidemiology and Clinical Findings of Melioidosis disease in North Borneo, Sabah, Malaysia, a 3 years review. So can I share? Because I cannot, okay. So for the introduction, Sabah is located in the east of Malaysia here. Also known as Borneo Island. This one is Peninsular Malaysia or West Malaysia. This one is Thailand. Okay. And it is located near to Brunei Darussalam and Sarawak. This one is Malaysian Borneo and Kalimantan, Indonesian Borneo. So in this state, the population is almost 4 million in 2019. And the occupation based on the sector, mostly the people's here working in service field. And second one is agriculture with 26%, mining 0.4%, manufacturing 99%. What I want to focus here is the agriculture, which is activity related to melioidosis spreading from environment to human is by agriculture, exposure to soil. So that's why I think Sabah is one of the state that recorded the highest cases of melioidosis in Malaysia. And okay, for a research location, this is Queen Elizabeth Hospital, a state hospital located in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. The bed is 775 with best occupancy rate BOR 77.71. And also, besides covering the 75 beds, our own patient, we also cover CNS tests in the northwest coast region of Sabah. I mean, nearby district, we cover all the CNS tests. So we do centralized tests here. Okay. So for the history of melioidosis in Sabah, the first case of melioidosis detected in Kuala Lumpur in the year of 1917 is reported by Stanton and Fletcher. And in 1964, the first case of human melioidosis in Sabah was reported. 9 years later, in 1978, Ainulkhir reported a human melioidosis case presenting as prostatitis in British male patient. They postulated that the source of infection is from fly to the eye of the patient that can cause angular symptom like angular conjunctivitis. So the recent cases have been reported in Sabah. The first one in 2015, the melioidosis cases in Children's Hospital. They reported that thalassemia is the major underlying risk factor. And most of the common symptom is septicemia. And it is different from the reported case in Thailand, which Thailand reported in children, most common symptom is parotitis. But here in Sabah, septicemia and fever. So the second one is melioidosis cases regarding 2 infants whom pronounced death after treatment. They postulated that the probable route of infection is inhalation of contaminated dust. This one is done by the research is done by Daim et al. In 2020. So to proceed, I want this one is the map on how Borneo is spread from Australia to all over the world. This information is obtained from Pearson et al., Shewa Pricha et al., and Sarovich et al. I just simplified it into a map so that we can understand it better. So this one, actually the early reservoir is from Australia, and then they spread to Papua New Guinea, to Southeast Asia, and from Southeast Asia they spread to South Asia and East Asia. What I want to focus here, the role of Borneo as a hub, the hub to spread the bacteria from Borneo to Madagascar. Okay, which I think it is interesting to do research about that. The Sabah contribute as part of Borneo region, as part of Borneo to the Mali transcontinental spread to Africa and America. So, however, the problem is the phylogenetic data, demographic, clinical spectrum, and antibiotic susceptibility pattern of Borneo Mali from this region are still scarce. So that's why we plan to do this research. So our study objective is to determine the demographic data, risk factor and symptoms, and also antibiotic susceptibility pattern of melioidosis patient in Sabah, Malaysia. So for the materials and method, this is a retrospective study. We collect the data from December 2015 to November 2018. So the total specimen is 102,566. So we only collect culture confirmed melioidosis patient, which is confirmed by gram stain, by type 2 or Ramer rapid ID+, ability to grow at 42 degrees Celsius, susceptible to amoxicillin clavulanic acid, growth on edge down agar. So of the 102,000, the confirmed total confirmed patient is 249. From 249, we collect the data based on the information written on laboratory requisition forms, such as demographic data, clinical spectrum. For the antibiotic susceptibility pattern, we collect it by our record in laboratory. So we do the statistical analysis. P-value less than 0.05 was considered significant. So for the result, out of 249 cases, as I said just now, 76.7 or 199 is contributed. Male patient is contributed 76.7% compared to female, which only 23.3%. A binomial test indicated that the proportion of male melioidosis patient was higher than expected. It was higher than actual population ratio. Actual population ratio only 0.52, but binomial test confirmed that it is significant increase. Male patient is significant compared to the population. According to the DOSM or Department of Statistics Malaysia, 35% of Sabah population, predominantly male, work in agriculture field, which is exposed to the soil. For the age group, more than half patients were from 50 to 64 age group. We postulate that the decreased immunity level might contribute on the larger number from this age group. The mean age group is 50, and the mortality rate during this study is 28.11%. So this one is the classification based on the age group. What I want to focus here, one infant has been detected with melioidosis without risk factor, and we proceed with the case report here. And patient with age more than 45 contributed to 65.1%. So 45 to 65, it contributed to 65.1% of total melioidosis patient. Deaths recorded is 70, 50 patients with age more than 45, and patient without risk factor contribute to 38.57% of the total death recorded. So for the risk factor, although not statistically significant, diabetes mellitus and hypertension were the major risk factor of the melioidosis patient in North Borneo. Our finding consolidated previous report that emphasized that diabetes mellitus is as a risk factor done by Abu Hussin and Chen et al. In 2018 and 2019. However, the consumption of alcohol is not considered as risk factor in the study. as compared to the report in Australia by Carey et al. In Darwin in 2010. So our postulation is that Muslims here are not prohibited to drink alcohol, and for those who drink alcohol, the alcohol only consumed during festive season or party, not on a daily basis. Okay, so for the clinical symptom, most of our patients showed fever and respiratory organ failure. This one is statistically significant and in agreement with previous studies by Farr and Holtz, Tang et al. And Lui et al. So for the ethnic proportion, as we can look here, most of the ethnic proportion is the Kadazan Luzon, a native ethnic, and Chinese. But as we can see here, the total Melioidosis cases from Kadazan Luzon and Chinese overwhelm the anticipated population ethnic. It means that it is more than supposed to be. It's supposed to be based on the ratio, the population ratio. So we postulate that it is related to the activity, to the physical activity by the ethnic itself, such as the ethnic Kadazan Luzon ethnic primary activity is farming and farming and agriculture. That's why we postulate that the daily activities might be contributed to the melioidosis infection in this region. So this one is the frequency and percentage of melioidosis cases by ward. I want to focus on these three. These three wards contribute to almost more than half more than half total melioidosis patient, which is include intensive care unit, emergency, and high dependency ward. So in emergency, it's mostly red zone. So we can conclude that the patients came to our hospital during the late stage of the infection, which they straight away go to the red zone. Then, if we add up these three, it's more than 50%. So, as we know, high HDW in ICU and emergency red zone is kindly specific for the worst condition of the patient. So we can, based on this finding, we can severe prognosis of the melioidosis disease has been anticipated. Therefore, early treatment and management of the patient is crucial to prevent mortality. Okay, for the total white blood count, here we observe a high total white blood count of melioidosis patient from 449 as the top, the upper limit of the normal range, and the same goes with neutrophil count. The elevated neutrophil count has been observed as compared to upper limit of the normal range, and as we know, high neutrophil count is most likely a bacterial infection, and it was consolidated by the report by Janjaron et al. In 2015 that emphasized on high neutrophil count is associated with acute melioidosis infection. So for the antibiotic susceptibility test, we have done antibiotic susceptibility test to all isolates in our study. All isolates, 249 were susceptible to ceftazidime and imipenem. So this finding was in line with reports published elsewhere, including the report published 30 years ago. This means a good news for us, as there's not yet emerged in our region isolates that resistant to ceftazidime and imipenem, the main treatment to the melioidosis infection. So we conclude that the ceftazidime, imipenem, and trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazole, still can be treatment of choice for this region. Okay, so our study had limitation. Of course, this is a retrospective study, low evidence level as compared to prospective study. So demographic data were extracted by using data written on the laboratory requisition form. So it's subjected to human error and wrong interpretation or missing data. So to reduce the probability of wrong interpretation, so any issue, any misunderstanding, we during the study, we at least confer with both, two authors, two authors involved in interpret the clinical summary written on the lab requisition form. So in conclusion, melioidosis prognosis may be poor.
Finish in 1 minute.
Okay. Melioidosis prognosis may be poor, but this study suggests that the disease should not be set aside during routine differential diagnosis, particularly among male patients aged above 45 years old with respiratory organ failure symptom and diabetes mellitus as underlying disease, and also an elevated neutrophil count. The neutrophil count. So the antibiotic of choice for intensive therapy is ceftazidime and imipenem still. And suggestion for the future study, a prospective study at the national level should be done to get the more accurate and result for better prognosis and management of melioidosis. So this one is reference. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your nice presentation.
No time for question.
We have 5 minutes.
Oh, you still have 5 minutes. Yes. I have questions. Yes.
Yeah.
I think in the past, Thailand has also faced a lot of cases of melioidosis, especially in the northeastern part of Thailand.
Yes.
And have difficulty in differentiating from tuberculosis.
Yes.
When we saw the patient, I don't know whether you have that experience or not.
Yeah. Here in Sabah, melioidosis. Melioidosis or melioidosis is just a can mimic something like pneumonia, mimic tuberculosis. Same goes here in Sabah. Same symptom. So we cannot differentiate between these two symptoms here in this region, in our place. Same goes with Thailand.
So what is the best parameter for differentiating between these two conditions?
The best parameter, of course, by laboratory confirmation.
Yes.
Yep, we have laboratory confirmation test, something like for us, in our experience, if they do both of the tests, screening tests like TB screening and also CNS test, searching for specific Borneo infection.
May I ask one question?
Yeah.
Just wondering about the ethnic group. Why Dusan Chadasan is the highest? You have any explanation for that?
Yeah, because I'm sorry. Dusun Kadazan, the main occupation of Dusun Kadazan ethnic is farming, agriculture, based on the statistic. So we assume that maybe agriculture is related to the melioidosis case, higher melioidosis case in this ethnic compared to the others.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments from the floor?
Dr. Hussin, I have some questions. From your study, the mortality rate is rather high. Do you suggest some measure to improve prognosis?
Yeah, of the mortality case. Yeah, of course, we are keep improving the mortality case by, correct differential diagnosis at the first place. We have to not to put aside the melioidosis infection. If we see any pneumonia symptom, we have to think about melioidosis during clinical diagnosis. That is the most important thing. Yeah. To prevent, to reduce mortality.
Thank you.
Any more comment? So,
If there is no more comments, thank you อาจารย์ชุติมา and Ainulkhir นะครับ
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
thank you.